Hello, we're Andy, the Maniacal Cinephile, and today we're breaking down and reviewing 28 Years Later.
These aren't your ordinary zombie movies.
Careful, little buddy. Some people get upset if you call them zombies.
Full of rage and vomiting blood. I call that a Tuesday night.
"28 Years Later" is a post-apocalyptic horror movie and the fourth entry in the series.
The one with Sandra Bullock was terrifying.
The movie is directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland, the team that brought us the original 28 Days Later in 2002.
I remember that year. It was post 9/11, and we were hit by another terrorist attack. The release of the Nickelback song, How You Remind Me. This is how you remind me, but I really have.
Not only do Boyle and Garland return, but so does the original cinematographer, Anthony Dodd Mantle. The star of 28 Days Later, Cillian Murphy, also serves as an executive producer.
Cillian Murphy now has that F.U. Oppenheimer money.
But Andy, I thought I saw Cillian Murphy in the trailer.
No, that was a skinny art dealer named Angus Neal.
28 years later, and they still don't have that vaccine. But they do have Ozempic.
The third film would have been titled 28 Months Later, but it's been stuck in development hell since 2007 due to the movie rights. So, let's see if 28 Years Later was worth the wait. The movie opens in the Scottish Highlands during the initial outbreak of the rage virus.
And right away, those custard-eating monsters show up on screen.
Little buddy, are you talking about the kids watching the Teletubbies?
Yes, those monsters trapped a baby in the sun.
Ah, jeez. Anyway, the infected attack the house of a young boy named Jimmy, killing his family. Jimmy runs to the nearby church to find his father, the local priest, who sees the outbreak as a good thing because divine judgment is upon us. Jimmy's father gives him his crucifix and tells the boy to flee while he's attacked.
Well, they found a way to make going to church exciting.
28 years after the rage virus escaped that laboratory, most of Europe has eradicated the virus, but the British Isles are still under indefinite quarantine.
The UK can keep the virus. And haggis.
A small community of survivors live on an island that is connected to the mainland by a heavily defended causeway. The only way on or off the island is when the land bridge is exposed during low tide. Our main character is a 12-year-old boy named Spike, who lives with his father Jamie, a scavenger, and his mother Isla, who is suffering from an unknown illness.
It's rough losing your mom. The other day, I lost our mother behind the couch.
You know what? Maybe I was trying to leave. The plot is a coming-of-age story. While the hunting ritual is usually for 14 or 15-year-olds, Spike is taken by his father to the mainland to hunt the infected.
All these years later, and they still don't use any face protection.
When you're watching Hot Ones and the guest rubs hot sauce in their eye.
Here, we see how the infected have evolved. There are bloaters that crawl on the earth and eat worms. They're easy to kill with arrows, but the other infected are not. the hordes have evolved and learned to adapt. Except for clothing.
A24 wishes their movies had this many ugly naked people.
The infected eat, hunt in groups, are more intelligent, and are led by an alpha.
You can tell he's the alpha by looking at his baloney pony.
Yeah, it's been confirmed that it was a prosthetic because they couldn't have nude actors around a kid. So that's the fake penis you put on him?
28 years later, more like 28 centimeters longer.
Ah, jeez. Anyway, the young Spike gets a kill, becoming a man, but they are overrun by the infected. Before the tide is low enough to fully expose the land bridge, Jamie and Spike are chased by an alpha in a very intense action scene.
I was waiting for the alpha to trip over his big dick.
Evil. Shut it. Back on the island, Spike questions his father about a fire he saw, and is told the fire was lit by Dr. Kelson. The doctor is a reclusive survivor who the villagers fear, after he was seen collecting, sorting, and burning bodies.
He's that neighbor that never invites you to the barbecue.
Try to think of something different.
The doc's bone art would make Leatherface's family jealous.
That night, there is a big celebration for Spike, but when Spike sees his drunk father sneak off with another woman, he loses a lot of respect for him.
Aaron Taylor Johnson went from kick-ass to grab-ass. In bed, hopefully he's not as fast as Quicksilver. To munch carpet is what he's craving.
You done, Evil?
Yeah, like her, I've had my fill.
After this falling out, Spike sneaks his sick mother off the island in hopes of finding Dr. Kelson, played by the incredibly talented Ralph Fiennes, so he can fix her. You know what? Ralph Fiennes is so fine. Gross. I should have picked cremation over burial. Anyway, the Dr. Kelson character brings wisdom and heart to the story, and Ralph's performance is a highlight.
Unlike whoever gave Dr. Kelson that spray tan.
28 years later is a coming-of-age story with strong themes that is visceral, creative, action-packed, and emotional. The world building was exceptional, and it was neat to see the evolution of the Rage virus. However, the movie ends with an outrageous cliffhanger that is dividing audiences.
Gang violence in the UK is weird. I mean, look at A Clockwork Orange.
I'd like to dive deeper into that final scene, so to avoid spoilers, skip ahead to the time code on the screen. The movie ends with Spike overcome by the infected until Sir Jimmy Crystal and his gang show up to save him by doing a bunch of flips and kung fu. The closing moment is batshit insane and had the same vibe as the Father Magruder scene from Peter Jackson's Dead Alive.
I kick ass for the Lord.
Zombies. All it takes is a bullet to the brain or a holy roundhouse kick.
Remember the young Jimmy who escaped with his father's crucifix 28 years ago? Well, now he's grown, played by Jack O'Connell from Sinners, and he's the leader of a cult of Jimmys. There's Jimmy Inc., Jemima, Jimmy Jones, Jimmy Fox, Jimmy Jimmy, Jimmy Shite, and Jimmy Snake. This abrupt tonal shift right before the credits is giving some viewers whiplash. I think I'm gonna sue.
It was like playing that video game, Dead Rising, and running into one of the psychopaths.
With the blonde mullets, gold jewelry, and tracksuits, they all look like Jimmy Savile. If you don't know who that is, he was an English media personality and DJ. Savile was known for his eccentric appearance, charity work, and hosting the BBC shows Top of the Pops and Jimmy'll Fix It. There were allegations during his lifetime, but after Jimmy's death in 2011, it was revealed that he was a huge sex pest.
You can't spell his last name without vile.
This ending is rubbing some people the wrong way. No pun intended. In the United States, it'd be like a whole gang of Bill Cosbys or P. Diddy's showing up.
I still can't believe Diddy was a diddler.
However, Jimmy was a young boy when the outbreak happened in 2002. All he knows is the Teletubbies, the Power Rangers, and in this alternate reality, Jimmy Savile's crimes wouldn't have been exposed. What's the symbolism here? Jimmy Savile was a wolf in tracksuit clothing. Kids trusted him. What's next for Spike? Whatever it is, it can't be good.
You know shit is about to go down when someone with a mullet shows up.
Danny Boyle and Alex Garland return to the world they built with 28 years later, delivering a bold, chaotic, and visually beautiful sequel that's as much about love as it is about death.
There are many kinds of death. You could go peacefully in your sleep, or have your head ripped off by a guy with a big fake wiener.
The movie features stunning natural locations, immersive world building, and experimental camera work. 28 Days Later was shot using smaller Canon XL1 digital camcorders that used mini DV tapes. It gives that movie its unique, kinda ugly look. 28 Years Later was shot primarily on an iPhone 15, and I was blown away by the footage. The average moviegoer probably wouldn't even notice.
Wow, this looks just like a real movie! If you have a lighting crew and expensive lenses.
The cinematography and editing push boundaries, giving the movie a unique visual identity that pays homage to the scrappy aesthetic of 28 Days Later while evolving it into something more stylized. There are odd zooms, cuts, and whenever someone is hit with an arrow, the camera will spin around to the other side of their head. They had this bullet time rig filled with iPhones.
28 iPhones later.
Some critics say the tone doesn't match the previous films. However, there's a shot in 28 Days Later where they drive through a field that looks like an oil painting.
They took a wrong turn and ended up in the poppy field outside of Oz.
The score by Scottish hip-hop group Young Fathers blends tribal percussion, bagpipes, and industrial guitars into an emotionally volatile soundscape that perfectly complements the film's shifting tones. And while we miss John Murphy's iconic In the House in a Heartbeat, the new music is a reflection of the movie itself. It's raw, real, and relentlessly unpredictable.
How I would describe my last sexual experience.
The performances are heartfelt and emotionally grounded, adding humanity to the film's otherwise bleak atmosphere. There's even the occasional bit of humor to keep things from sinking into complete despair. However, that emotional weight can clash with the more absurd, experimental moments, leading to jarring tonal shifts. Be warned, the film ends on an abrupt cliffhanger that may frustrate some, but it's all part of a planned trilogy and the return of Cillian Murphy's character. 28 years later, The Bone Temple hits theaters in January.
The Bone Temple? At least it's not called 28 Decades Later.
So, would I recommend 28 Dicks Later? I mean, 28 years later. Yeah. Despite the tonal whiplash and divisive ending, 28 Years Later is a gorgeously savage continuation of the franchise. One that's more about love, loss, and legacy. It's bleak, brutal, but also bold, and just might be the best entry yet. I give 28 Years Later 8 out of 10 fake alpha penises. Let us know what you thought of 28 Years Later in the comments below. We've been Andy the Maniacal Cinephile.
Thanks for liking and subscribing.
Join our Patreon, hit the bell, and now watch another damn video.